But the gym culture in Las Vegas that's catering to everything around this competition is just, there's none like it. We are back. Episode 51, Cutler Cast. Shout out to Celsius, who just delivered, finally, the grape.
What do you think of the grape?
This is amazing, dude, honestly, but I'm a little, we were slated of the cola, which is my favorite.
You got fucking chaff.
We actually, I think I have some cola in there, but
I've
been bragging about that on the podcast. You know how many people actually hit me up and like, I didn't know Celsius had a cola.
I didn't know they did until they showed up one day. I had no clue.
All right, so we're post Thanksgiving, one holiday down. Now we just have Christmas, New Year's.
Did you pig out?
I didn't eat anything, actually.
Yeah, you did. You ate trifecta all day.
Yeah, that's right. I sent you a video of it, actually. Yeah, I sat and watched some football games. And, you know, I used to travel back east, and, you know, we kind of dread the holidays with the crazy travel, and we talk about the pricing now and everything else. But I saw that Las Vegas reported that this was the busiest traffic they had at the airport since prior to COVID, which of course is expected. So, I mean, that's like 3 years.
And usually Thanksgiving's not a big holiday in Vegas.
No, but I mean, people come in and out, right? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people aren't from here. You know, if you stop someone out and about, it's like, you know, where are you from? You get people. Lately, it seems like I got a little more people like, oh, I'm from actually Las Vegas or Nevada, you know. But, you know, normally I used to go back east, you know, prior, you know, with my dad obviously getting older and you know, since he passed, you know, over a year ago now, I don't go back as much, even though my mom and my brothers, my whole family's there. But, you know, it seems like as people get a little older and the grandkids now have kind of taken over priority, like the families tend to migrate towards like the in-laws or whatever else. So we don't get everyone in one place. That was one thing about growing up in my family is every Sunday my father would cook like a cookout or like a family gathering, and literally all my brothers and sisters and like the girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, husbands, wives at certain times, the kids, very young at that point, their children, we would all have, you know, a few hours together on every Sunday. You know, my dad was an amazing cook, and he would cook like these crazy things of spaghetti, and then in the summertime we'd have like stuff on the grill and whatever else. And, you know, that was one thing that always our family was very oriented in, that kind of, you know, time together. And then, of course, everyone started to kind of do their own things. Everyone got into personal relationships, and, you know, the children tend to, the in-laws or the grandparents of the, you know, the spouse or whatever, they want to see the children too, right? Yeah. So it's been a minute. You know, we just, I know I travel for Christmas every year, usually to Angie's family. So I go back because I was just back there prior for my contest, right? It was 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. But I tend to do less. I mean, I'm not a big eater. It seems like as I get a little older, like the food is not exciting for me. I always say like that was the one disadvantage about being a bodybuilder is nothing excites me on a menu at this point. Yeah. Would I like to gone out and probably, you know, I remember one year we went to Laurie's and, you know, it starts at like 5 p.m. And I think that's kind of just late. Like I just wanted to chill out, and I went to the gym. I worked out. The gym was quiet. You know, what's nice about Kilo, you know, nothing, you know, I know a lot of gyms closed early, but, you know, having the key card, it really helped a lot, you know. How was yours?
I got food poisoning 2 days before, and it just wasn't, my body still wasn't back to normal. After I got food poisoning, I ate once a day for like 4 or 5 days. I just couldn't eat. And now in the last 2 days, I finally started like being able to eat a breakfast and a lunch and something else. So I'm eating like 2.5 to 3 times a day now.
It's so funny. In high school, dude, one time I ate these tacos at one of my girlfriend's houses, her family made. And I remember for the longest time I couldn't have tacos ever. You know when you get sick on a certain food and you're like, oh my God, I'm never eating this again. It's a bad experience, right? You tend, if it's a restaurant, you're like, I'm never going there again, right? So my question is,
I got it from a restaurant.
Okay,
and the funny part
will
about
you go back?
No. The funny part is, I got emailed right after I left from United because it's on the United list. I had no idea where I get miles for flying. And then 2 days later goes, how was your review? And I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking tell you how my review was. Like, I got food poisoning, blah, blah, blah. It said, you want to make it public? I didn't. But I just said, send it to the management that I got food poisoning from. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't think I'll go back again. But that's okay. Otherwise, we ended up all going over to Brad and Victoria's house. Mm-hmm. So me, Regan, Yarishna, Lewis, a group of us all went over to the house there and just kind of chilled out and had a little. I didn't
watch any football games.
No, it might have been playing in the background. But I mean, I had a small plate, and even at that, I didn't eat for 24 hours. But which is probably good because I just don't need to be pounding all that extra food for no reason.
Yeah, I remember, the turkey thing was like the big thing. I know.
We didn't even have turkey. Yeah. We just got really good grass-fed steaks, and we got Yarishna some halibut. Mm-hmm. So we did it all.
So she's on a super strict.
She didn't fall off her diet one bit. Yeah. She's super, super strict. And
I was always dieting for the Arnold through Thanksgiving. So I think for me, it's like since I retired, and stopped doing the Arnold back in 2005 was, the first year I skipped it, from the early 2000s. It's like Thanksgiving was one of those celebrations I could do, which was kind of nice. But that leads us to, we're 2.5 weeks out of the
we're
Olympia.
We're 2.5 weeks out from the Olympia. And I was thinking about this the other night. So you're retired now, but for most of your adult life, at this point right now, you'd be 2.5 weeks out from the biggest show of your life. So where would you be 2.5 weeks out? What would you be doing on a daily basis? Would it be different than it was 12 weeks out? Would it be kind of walk us through where you would be?
I'd be heading to California this weekend to shoot with Chris Lund.
Okay.
For Flex.
But all the top people had to do that then.
Yeah, it was always 2 weeks out. We were started at Club Metrics. Back in the days, we would have our photo shoots there, so I'd stay at a Residence Inn. I always stayed in the same place. It was Residence Inn Costa Mesa.
We actually stayed there the one night. We went out there, and you were like, this is where we always stay for the Olympia.
We used to stay, and it was close around the corner. So I'd go to Club Metrics, we'd do our shoots, and then it migrated to Milos's gym, which was Coliseum, right? So I still stayed at the Costa Mesa Residence Inn because that's where Chris Lund would stay. He'd stay there for 2 months when he was here filming. And then I'd be, anticipating that because by that point I was very close. I was in striking distance, right? 2 weeks out, you're in great shape. But all I cared about was looking good for that shoot so he could tell everyone and, the buzz would start oh, Jay's looking great. And for many years, remember, it was me and Ronnie, and that's all they talked about. So I always showed up to those shoots looking tremendous. And I remember even 06 when I walked in there, I knew how I looked. I was 280 and I was in crazy shape. And I remember Milos taking pictures, and I wish he was here to actually talk about it. But he's like, dude, this is next level. Ronnie was just here. And Ronnie seemed to go right before me. But I was counting down the days at that point and just zoning in. I would separate myself from everyone. Any training partners I had or any kind of commitments I had were absolutely pushed to the side. So if you said to me, what was the mindset? There was no world. There was no world. My vision, my focus was being on that stage, performing. I was starting to plan whoever was coming in, because normally we had people coming in to help out, whether it's transportation. Then I had events okay, I'm going to be at Meet the Olympians with all my gear, my clothing and everything else. Who's going to work that? What I'm going to wear to the press conference, what I'm going to wear for my suits, for what music I'm posing to. I'd be practicing a routine of getting stuff together. Usually I'd be mixing my music with the voiceovers because a lot of times I did that. Mm-hmm. And then, just gearing up, dude, for the last couple weeks. Last week, the last week is just, you're done because you're just that's the week that everyone comes in. You're, either carb depleting or just, starting to cut the fluids down. Your training definitely backs off. But I'm still hard and heavy from, 2 weeks down. But, man, remember, I was 16, 20 weeks on a diet program. So this was the final conclusion of zoning in and just, for a long time. I mean, as far as I can remember, I was like the front runner for the contest, right? I was either first or second. So there was just no world, dude. No world.
So now if you fast forward to what you know now versus what you knew then, is there anything different in today's game that you might have implemented, whether it was the compression, stuff, whether it was the red lights, is there anything different that you've seen over, let's say, the last 5 years, you're like, damn, I wish they had that.
You know what? I'll be truthful. Like, these guys aren't doing shit compared to what I did. They're not. Because I was in that tissue work, like I was flying back and forth to Cali, whether it was to see Derek Farnsworth or Jeff, who taught Derek, or see Steve Murphy, or see Glenn Hall here, or I had another massage guy that really, like, I was in tissue therapy like 6 hours a week. So you talk about now all this red light stuff, and I was doing like saunas, and remember towards the end, dude, I was doing like Pilates and stuff. I had a reformer at home. I had a girl stretching me half the time. Kelly Decolati would do that. And I just, I had a crazy full schedule. Like, I would have the 2-on, 1-off training schedule, and those days off, handling the business, the mail orders, the tissue. Like, I would fly one of those. I had 2 days off a week. I trained 5 total days. One of those days I was flying to California to see a therapist all the way up until, a week out or whatever was the last trip. Or when I would drive for the photo shoot, and I would actually see Steve Murphy then because he was in Newport. So would I have done it? If it was free, I would have done it because, back then, I mean, I had a lot of guys that would comp stuff for me, but I did pay for those tissue work. I mean, Glenn Hall was $400 each session.
But is there something that you've seen that has came to light that you think would have benefited you, or nothing?
I'll be truthful. I mean, and you can correct me because you're bringing up things that I wouldn't even think of.
Yeah.
Angie's big on red light therapy. This is supposed to be the new thing. These I was doing dry saunas where now it's like red light therapy saunas, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly. I don't study it enough to learn the benefits of it. No.
I was just bringing that up as something. Like,
have you ever done it?
No.
Okay.
No. What I meant by that is there anything that you've
like
seen
compression? Like you wear the compression,
things to help with circulation in your legs. Like,
I never.
So you think
even working with Hani, who was super particular. Chris Aceto was amazing, but Hani was like, he wanted me to wear a squeam one year to downsize my waist, and I remember him talking about doing inverted leg presses. Inverted because talking about blood flow back and forth to, help with the blood flow to my legs, especially because I had a discrepancy in my leg size. One was bigger than the other, just like most people have. But
of course,
mine was apparent just because of an injury from football in high school. But I felt like I did it all. Like I did dry needling before everyone did it. I did, neuromuscular therapy, active release therapy. I did suction. I was doing cupping before anyone even knew what it was. Okay. Is
there any products that are out that weren't out then that you can think of off the top of your head that you might have said, oh, damn, I would have used that? Or would you think everything you did would still apply?
Yeah, because
today?
I'm so old school. It's just like, with the few people that I work with on nutrition programs, and I get asked every day, like, can you help me with a program? And we have to push aside, like, because people come to me and they think, okay, Jay has knowledge about training and nutrition, but I really want to dig his mind about the drug use, right?
Yeah.
We know this, right?
Of course.
So we take that out of the equation because that even has changed dramatically, right? Even with peptides. Like people ask me about peptides, and I asked you the other day, like where do people order this stuff? And you didn't even know,
No.
like. I don't know. I mean, I guess some of them are prescription or whatever else, but
some are dodgy.
Yeah. So that's just out of my wheelhouse. So if you said to me, I'm still stuck in 2000, 2002, 2005, probably, the supplements have obviously changed. I was using fat burners as a pre-workout, where today I would take a pre-workout. Would I use protein? I used a concentrate protein, which I'd probably use an isolate now. That's a difference, but the food would still be the fish program. I'm sure Rami, I just saw a Chad Nichols post where he was talking about Rami actually likes fish. And
Yeah,
mostly
being, only eats fish.
You know, being around me and Phil, that's all we ate, dude.
Yeah.
We ate whitefish like every meal
If I
with
remember
mustard.
it, I think Phil almost ate like a pound of tilapia every meal.
Well, so did I. And I think Chris Bumstead, probably working with Hani, is doing the same thing.
Of course. So you know what? There could be a benefit to not knowing the newer stuff nowadays and just sticking to that old school. Maybe that's what some of these guys are missing now. They're trying to add too many things that aren't necessary.
I was training very angry at this point. Like, I was on a mission, right? I was avoiding people. You know, for a while I stayed in the background and I trained like in the middle of the night. You know, I voluntarily stood up like through the nighttime so I'd sleep till 10 or 11. First training session at 2. I'd go back super late at night, finish my cardio at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and then, you know, be in bed at 4 o'clock and sleeping, 7 hours till 11 o'clock, which, today I sleep on a normal schedule. I feel I go to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'm up at 6 or 7 in the morning. I mean, 5 hours of sleep is about my window now.
Yeah, mine's 4
Is that beneficial?
Probably not, but it worked for you.
I mean, I wake up, I feel energetic. Like I told you, if I wasn't jumping out of bed every day, I don't know what the cause would be. But, being 2.5 weeks out now, I still get this vibe, especially now when I walk in the gym and I see a Nick Walker, and it's crazy because I see Nick Walker's pictures online and he's posting like he's probably the most publicized guy with the physique right now because he's putting out like daily pictures. Basis. And I see him in the gym and I see him in a sweatshirt and you just can't imagine what he looks like under that shirt because when I see him, he looks good. But then I turn around and I go home and I flip through Instagram and there's Nick Walker that I just saw hours ago posing after the workout and he looks crazy. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because I'm watching every single YouTube video interview. They have everyone's consensus on who the top 6 will be. And it keeps changing.
Yes, it does.
It keeps changing. And we talked about early on the hype of like the Crizzos and the Andrew Jacks and what Rami wasn't going to look like, right? Like, was Rami, we thought, I mean, if you asked me 16, 20 weeks ago, I'm like, Rami, I think, is not going to pull this off. And then all of a sudden, Dennis James showed up there, and I don't know if he put a fire under Rami to post, but, this whole thing of the comeback of Rami to be his best ever, like, he's looking crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I mean, I would never want to even begin to guess who could be in that top 6.
I know, but people keep asking me every day. I get the question, "Who's going to be?" And I'm not going to take the interview because I have a feeling like one of these channels will call me as we get 2 weeks out and say, "Oh, we're going to get Jay on to get his." I don't want to do that because you create enemies, number one, but it's hard not to predict Rami to repeat, right? But they left Brandon out a lot. But you got to remember, and I'm going to say this again, I've said this on every podcast, and I want people to pay attention. Brandon Curry has been top 2 at every contest for how long?
Since 2019.
Okay.
He won the Arnold, he won the Olympia, then he got second at the Olympia, and he beat Phil Heath, then he got second at the Olympia, then he won the Arnold. So every major show, he's either won or came in runner-up, and each time it wasn't like a walk-away. It was a close second. So people that think that Brandon, I'm seeing some of these things where people can have Brandon on the top 5. It's like, dude, he could fucking win this thing easily. He has the best chance.
I'm going to say on record right now, and I'm going to hold this position. I want everyone to listen to me. I believe the top 5 will be last year's top 5.
In that order or just maybe mixed around?
I'm not going to predict who's going to beat who, but I would almost guarantee there's going to not be someone that slides in those spots.
And that's a fair assessment.
I mean,
could very well happen.
You got Brandon, you got Rami, you got Hadi.
Yep.
You got Hunter and Nick.
Yep.
But William Bonnick is the question mark. Now, Bonnick might slide up and push someone into 6th. But I have a feeling it's going to be all those guys.
And he was 6th last year, wasn't he?
Yes.
So you could say the top 6 will be the same. Where
Yeah,
they'll
okay.
fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's correct that.
Yeah.
I think Bonnick is going to beat someone that was already ahead of him last year. Okay.
Yes.
Chad seems really confident. He's working with Chad Nichols.
Yes.
Of course, he says his 1-2 guys will be top 2.
And it very well, that could happen. That's not an outlandish prediction.
But I have a hard time believing Brandon is going to lose to any one of those guys. I mean, I think Rami, if he's better than if he's at last year's condition or less, Brandon wins. Brandon was what I did in 2009. He's going to come back and win the Mr. Olympia.
Yep. It very well could happen.
And this may be a swan song, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, he's 40.
Yeah.
I mean, how much longer is he going to go? I mean, not everyone hangs on.
And I didn't see this. I haven't asked him. I'm sure if I did, he would. But I heard Aceto say that Abdullah has been sent him some pictures of Brandon. And he looks crazy.
He always does. You know, that's just, of course, it's his biggest cheerleader, you know.
Yeah.
But
you saying that, though, that very well could happen. I couldn't. Could there be some shockers that could be there?
Listen, we know Lunsford. We know Andrew Jack, Sampson.
Crizzo.
You know, and we're not even talking about, like,
Ian
or James.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that
Hassan.
Right last year, Mo got 10th last year.
I mean, dude,
Justin Rodriguez was
yes, Justin Rodriguez looks unbelievable right now.
There's a lot of big names that
but we're not, and I
Hakeem
feel
Williams.
Yes, I'm disrespecting so many people by, in a sense, saying that, but at the same time, like, you got to look at the big picture.
Yeah.
And it's the trend, you know, of like, and it's not, Brandon Curry has the name. Like, people keep harping on his legs, dude, but like, they're not like, he's in his side shots, he's like toe to toe with Rami.
Yeah.
That's where it comes down to. So, I mean, like we said, I mean, it's all going to fall down on that Friday night with the prejudging, and you know, guys are going to miss the peak, and they're going to come back Saturday, and positions might shift a little bit.
Yeah.
The big question mark out of that top 6, bro, is Bonnick and Hunter. We already know Nick's unbelievable, right? He's already in great condition. We've seen Rami. He's in great shape. We know Brandon's going to bring it. We know Hadi Chupin will be the most conditioned of the contest.
I personally think this will be Hadi's best look ever, because it's the first time he's been here for 6 weeks, and Hani has all the time in the world to dial him in. And if anyone's going to make him look the best ever, it's Hani. So he could be the wild factor of, holy shit, we thought he looked crazy before. Now look how he looks when he's not landing 3 days before the Olympia.
Now 2023 is going to be a different story, because now, like, that younger crop is coming in, right?
Yeah, they're moving
I mean,
forward.
it's not going to be Derek's or Sampson's first Olympia again, okay, or Crizzo or Andrew Jacked.
Yeah.
Like, now we're going to have some guys that, okay, they've been there, the nerves are out a little bit, right? Yeah. Man, it's going to be a hell of a contest.
The trend that I'm seeing is it's looking like the shape guys are they're looking for shape more so. And I could be completely wrong, but, you know, like Brandon won the Arnold, you know, and it was a controversial win. And I see, like, Andrew Jacked, we were there. He wasn't the most conditioned guy in the last 2 shows. We were sitting there right in the front. But his shape was so overwhelming.
Still bodybuilding, bro.
Yep. And it's overwhelming. So are we going to see these guys like a Samson and like Andrew Jacked and Brandon, some of these other guys that have crazy shape? Can shape mean so much now that these guys that don't have the best shape get moved back a little bit to where there's a bunch of guys that have really good shape that could move to the forefront? That could be a storyline that happens. Mm-hmm. Will it? I don't know. But you saying those same top 6 could be there, but maybe shift around, that's a fair assessment. It's a fair bet, because it's going to take somebody really fucking amazing to pass any one of those guys.
This year, and being in Vegas and the culture we have, I know it's Christmas time for people, so it's going to limit certain people can come because obviously commitments for the holiday. But the gym culture in Las Vegas that's catering to everything around this competition is just, there's none like it.
Not even close.
I mean, we talk about like the Elevation that just opened. We talk about Flex's gym, which will be an absolute madhouse of like who's who, right? Yes. Fit Club, posing rooms.
Yes.
I mean, Powerhouse has a posing room.
Elevation does. Fit Club does. Dragons does.
Lift Factory does.
Lift Factory does. Yeah, we even talk about Lift Factory because it's far,
Okay, but they have a posing room.
Yeah.
So Elevation just opened up. They have their posing room. Fit Club just completed theirs, which you claim is
it's lighting. It has the honeycomb lighting that no one else in town has. And that's where everyone keeps saying, look at Yarishna's photos there. She's doing it under the best, like crazy lighting. And now, they did this. You got to think this just finished a week ago. So they got that whole new back room that has all this crazy leg equipment.
So if you're a spectator coming to this contest, what are you looking to do? You're looking to eat. Obviously, the expo, look at whatever, gifts, samples, whatever else. You're coming to see a bodybuilding show.
Yep.
You're coming to meet your favorite athletes, but you're coming to train.
Of course.
Around the greats, and we're watching every day greats come in early preparation. Okay. Now they're circulating the gyms. Okay. We didn't even mention Las Vegas Athletic Club or EOS Fitness, which is
there's like 20 of them in around.
The whole valley is surrounded, right? 24 hours.
Yep.
Many of these gyms are 24 hours. Okay. I think a lot of these gyms are extending hours based on this competition. Okay. But you can train 24 hours a day. I mean, where else would you want to have a competition, right?
Yeah.
So the whole experience is going to be, I feel, the best it's ever been. I mean, you remember Flamingo Sandhill, how many people used to hang out at that gym and they would do all the photo shoots. So Sunday, I know that Elevation's having photo shoots, Fit Club's having photo shoots. I'm sure Dragons is having photo shoots. I mean, it's endless, right? I mean, how many people are going to be doing these shoots? Not to mention, some of the commercial gyms. It's just going to be a crazy weekend.
And
it's going to be a long week for you. For me, a little less. I mean, I will be attending the expo. I'm going to say it right now, guys. So put on your schedule. I will be at Celsius and Trifecta for sure between Friday and Saturday.
We might add another, but that's for sure.
But those are the two booths. I'll be Friday and Saturday, and probably only one appearance each day at one or the other, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be very limited. I'll be attending the Saturday evening show.
This year's the gym culture is so crazy here, and I won't say names, but a lot of the biggest names out there have reached out to me to make sure they have a place to train where they're not going to be just piled on. So
they close in the gyms is the question.
A certain gym will have place for people that are going to get bombarded, and that's just, and it's not going to be. Yes, they're going.
I mean, listen.
Period.
Let's. So I trained up until. I mean, Thursday's the press conference. Wednesday's the meeting. Wednesday evening.
You probably trained till Tuesday.
I actually trained a little bit at home up until Friday morning. I actually worked out a little bit, but yes, on Tuesday I was pretty much. On Wednesday I trained, so I stopped on Wednesday. Thursday's just, between the press conference at noon and the Meet the Olympians at 7, it was just too taxing, right? And then Friday night, we had the prejudging, and Friday would be the expo, and Saturday would be the expo, and then, of course, the finals on Saturday night. And then it was like, I couldn't wait till that day it was done, dude. And then the next day we had the what's that called, where they have the little press conference thing after?
It's like the champion seminar.
Do they still do it? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the champions or past champions that were right there, they bring that in. So let me ask you this. If you were, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you were to say 1, 2, or 3 names that you're really looking forward to seeing? Like, you're really like, man, I don't know if they'll be in the top 6. I don't know where they're going to fall, but as soon as they walk out, I'm going to know if my prediction was right or wrong. Is there any names that you think could just be a real shakeup and really that are not in that top 6 last year that could ultimately come in there?
I think I'm excited to see Crizzo up against the guys. I'm excited to see Andrew Jack again. I want to see if he's improved from UK. I'm excited to see Brandon Curry.
Yeah.
Because I want to see how he compares, you know.
And right now, Brandon could do what you're the only person.
Yeah, and I want to see Derek Lunsford, how he jumped into the next division. And, you know, it's just, you know, we got excited about Flex Lewis doing this because, listen, I've known Flex since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And when he announced, like, I'm going to Open, it was like a big point for the Olympia. And, you know, Flex, they always, like, when he came up in Phil Heath's era, it was like you had 2 really crazy shaped champions that were just dominating, right? So I always wanted to see those 2 stand next to each other, and unfortunately it never came to fruition, right?
Yeah.
Unless Phil comes back next year, you know. I want to push Phil to come back and compete in 23.
I message him all the time, say that.
Yeah. I still think he could do some damage.
Hey, look, man, people don't. I'd say the same thing.
How old is Phil? This
40.
Is it November or
he's 42?
December.
He'll be 43. 43. He'll be 43 in December.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, look, when you look at him, I mean, we've seen him a couple times. He's not any.
Dude, Dexter went till he was early 50s or whatever. I mean,
and Phil, like, look, I mean, I know he had the midsection situation, but he still is round and as big as anyone out there. And I'm sure he's not training like he once did.
Yeah.
You know, that would be great if he came back. But
I think the episode launched with him and Shannon Sharp working out at Gold's Gym Venice. Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
I saw some video on it, but you know he'll be doing the commentary, so it'd be kind of cool to catch up with him. And
did you buy anything on Black Friday randomly?
You know, I'm the dummy that bought my sister a TV 2 weeks prior.
What the?
But you know, I did the Best Buy thing. But I mean, hey, she wanted it for.
Dude, TVs were so cheap. Not that I need them because I already have.
Yeah, I know you were trying to get me to buy.
I know. I was looking. I was like, what the hell? A 75-inch TV is like $379. Like, just think of how much you paid for your 42-inch TVs.
So when I built my house in 2007, I had this obsession to have like the craziest media thing, whatever I could do, right? At the time, the AMX systems, and anyone that knows electronics will know. So I had these handheld panels that did everything. They would control your heat, your fans, everything. They were $5,000 a piece. And I bought 42-inch Samsungs. At the time, they were the best televisions. They're like this thick.
Those are the plasmas.
Okay,
yes.
I paid $1,400 a piece for them. And now they're like, I had 17 televisions in my house. One was was the projector screen, but that projector it wasn't even HD then, right?
Yeah, it was a 1080i because I remember when I saw it.
So I still paid thousands for it. But I had this crazy system. It was like what I showed off in the DVDs, and the porn came on and whatever else. But I was like showboating that thing so much. And then now here we are 15 years later, and it's absolutely obsolete. I still have an AMX panel because I just don't want to throw it out because I paid so much for it. But now I switched to iPads and everything else. And granted, when I went to switch out a lot of the televisions, because a couple have shit the bed, my guy told me, he's like, dude, these pictures are still so good.
Because you never used them.
Yeah, never used them. There. But I think the ones I didn't use are the ones that crapped out. Yeah. Because they never really got turned on. You know, I had guest bedrooms. You know, I had a TV in every room. I had, you know, game room TV, everything. But, you know, TVs are just one of the, I always say to, you know, to Angie, because she's always has the television on. I'm like, I just want peace and quiet, and I don't want sound, you know. So half the time I'm on my laptop watching what else? YouTube. So
I lived in Hong Kong in 2011 and 2012. And I lived in a 350 square foot room. That was my whole place. And we didn't have enough space for a TV. So I got used to watching my laptop for an extent for 2 years. So even to this day, I have this massive TV in my living room, full theater, everything. I still go to my bed and I put the laptop on my bed and I watch Netflix
I think,
from my laptop.
I think if you asked our viewers or listeners, like our percentage of people that sit and watch things on a computer or their phone or
Yes.
a tablet or whatever else, an iPad, like a majority probably do that because they stream, right?
Of course. But I catch myself where I'll be listening to Rogan or something, and I'll just, I have like an office near like my living room, and I just sit there and I'll be working on stuff, and I'll be like, because I'll have my laptop, and then I have two 27-inch monitors that come off of it, and I'll be like, why am I not streaming this from my massive TV right over there?
I'm going to ask you a question. So when you buy that 65, 70, you mentioned there was a 90.
There's a 95 that I want to buy.
A TV.
An actual TV,
That's
95
a
inches.
fucking bragging rights TV.
But I don't even turn it on.
I know, but how big of a room do you need? Mine's a 130-inch screen for my projector in my theater.
Yeah.
And, half the time, most of the time I'm watching a 55-inch in my family room on football games.
Yeah.
Because I just don't, I sit in the theater, and when I fall in those theater chairs, I just
fall asleep.
Yeah. So I try to sit on the couch, and I'm like positioned so I don't lay back and fall asleep, so I can actually enjoy something, because as soon as I shut my mind off, I pass out. Yeah. It's like getting on the plane, they're making the announcements, and I'm like chin down and asleep. That drives you crazy, right? Because you can't sleep.
The other night, Regan was like, "We're gonna go watch it," or no, Lewis. Yeah, and him and Yurish are gonna watch a movie. They're like, "You want to come watch a movie with us?" And I went, "No." And they're like, "Well, why not?" And I said, "I will fall asleep within 8 seconds, and I'll start snoring, and I'm not gonna pay $30 to take a nap, because some of those seats are so comfortable, and I cannot get through. I don't know what it is. I've always had a problem sleeping in my life, but now, as soon as a movie comes on."
It relaxes
as soon as I start watching it, a couple minutes later, I'm fighting to stay awake.
Because just like me, dude, your mind probably takes off like my mind. Angie says I have the craziest mind she's ever met, where I'll be thinking 12 things at one time, and I'll just shout words out, and she's like, "What the hell? Like, we were just talking about this." Like,
yeah.
Because I just have too many things on my mind,
Yeah. So one other thing that we had happen over this last weekend was the last show of the year, but it was a qualification for next year. And Brett Wilkin got his first open pro win, and it looks like him and Matt nailed it, and he's the first qualified for 2023. So the question would be, is he going to take the whole year off to do the Olympia, or do you think he still needs to show his physique another time on another stage?
I think he should do New York Pro.
Yeah.
I think that, let's go back to like my eras and everything else. Like, you gained a lot of respect or actually fan following because of certain contests that you did. And there's staple contests that was the path. I know there's so many other contests now, and unfortunately some of these international people can't come over to the U.S. It's expensive. They don't have sponsors, whatever else. But the New York Pro is like the first show we did. It was the first stepping stone. And then you worked your way to the Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
And then eventually the Olympia. And yes, there's other shows in between, but I think having that title, winning that ring, and that New York title, look what it did for Blessing. Blessing was hyped, and see, that's another guy we're not talking about disrespectfully, I'm looking forward to seeing him next to the other guys like Akeem, and I want to see a call out, like I said, Akeem, Andrew Jacked, Samson,
and Blessing. Yeah. That would be kind
Who
of...
am I leaving out?
Those four.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want that call out.
That'd be great.
The Olympia.
That would be great.
I want to see Big Ramy and Nick Walker too. And I want to see Derek Lunsford and Hadi Chupin together.
But let me ask you this. Why Ramy and Nick? Why not Ramy and like an Andrew Jack?
Those are the freaks, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone, Nick's just, dude, he's just in your face. And Ramy's in your face. Like, I think Ramy, like a lot of people say, he has great shape. And I don't think Nick Walker, like, I know people are bashing him for his shape, but he really transformed himself into pretty incredible on some poses, man. Mm-hmm. For a guy that's known as a freak and not necessarily aesthetic, I mean, it just, he's put it all together, and his condition is there. But you know, it's when we talk about Brett Wilkin, you know, I've known him since he was a classic guy.
Did he do men's physique?
He may have, but I knew him
to 212.
I remember I met him at Lift Factory for the first time, and I remember when he was making that come up.
Uh-huh.
And to see him and like Stanimal and these guys go up these divisions like they have and have some success at it, it's pretty incredible. And I think, you know, we talk about he's really popular. Yes. He's a YouTube guy. He puts his content out there. You know, his wife obviously is an active IFBB pro, also very successful. But he's just a nice guy, and people have caught on to that by following him. I know there's a ton of hype. He redeems himself from the Arnold Classic because they had him coming in and like, oh, he's going to beat Brandon and
I hate that
William.
Shit. I hate that when
media
people put this unridiculous like pressure.
What did
on
he
somebody.
finish, 6th or 7th? Or?
I think so. And it's like,
I don't even
man,
remember,
just let these guys get out there and just do their thing, because you put all this crazy pressure, and it backfires and it harms them. So just let him. Same with Derek going to the Olympia. I have no idea where he's going to place. He could win or he could get last.
You know, I think I've been on the episodes talking about Derek's, like he could be second. You know,
he could.
I'm gonna say like I said, the top 5, 6, whatever.
6
would be
from last year.
Yeah. So to get back to Brett, like that would be my suggestion is show your face again, because let's be real, he needs more size. Yes. You know, he looked amazing. His condition, obviously, you know, Matt did a great job with him. He put in the hard work. But he needs to put on more size. I mean, it'd be like the same thing. Regan's going to compete because he needs to qualify, correct? Yeah, so sure. He's going to show his face. I mean, do you put your eggs in one basket and you try to lay it all on the line prior to the Olympia, which I don't know what the date is next year. You may know. Is it going to be September, October, or December? I don't know. We don't.
I know where it's going to be, but I'm not.
Okay, so you don't want to say. Okay,
I'm not going to say because it's not 100. Like,
okay,
I'd rather have them.
So I would suggest a spring show. Show your face. Get up against some great bodies. You know, Rami was there. Remember 2013? I mean, I won that show in 2000. Victor Martinez. I mean, everybody. Marcus Rule. Chris Cormier, Flex Wheeler. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? Great champions. He can do it. You know, he's definitely a breath of fresh air. I mean, like I think we talked about this morning. And
I also want to, you know, congratulate him and his wife Ivana she's pregnant.
It's amazing, yeah.
That's he announced it on the stage, and it doesn't happen often where a guy competing talks about that. It's very rare that they're having a family in the middle of this. So,
well, what are you saying?
He said it. He announced it out at the last show.
Okay,
that's something they were working on.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
you know, he moved to Florida to further his career. Yeah. I mean, just goes to show. I mean, they were in the Midwest, I believe, somewhere. And
they were in Colorado.
Okay,
he trained at Phil's.
Okay, that's right.
So let me ask you: when did I've noticed a trend? And I don't know, maybe it's been the last 5 or 6 years, but when did it become normal for these guys to just not do these other shows? Like, it's very common. A guy does, you know, he hasn't won a major show and he goes in the Olympia and does well. And then it's like, it just seems like everybody just takes the whole year off. We're not seeing all these top guys doing all these shows like they always did. It just seems like now the guys get a little success and they back off. I used to always say the road to the Olympia went through New York and through Columbus. In order to do well at the Olympia, you had to prove yourselves there. Now some guys just don't do them.
You know why? Because back in the era, the top 3 or top 5 at certain shows qualified, right? And there were very limited contests. So that way you would get qualified.
Yeah.
And then the top 10 from the year prior would qualify, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have an Olympia that was, you know, kind of, but you also had contracts that said, we expect you to be in the Olympia, and once you found the path to get there, you know, you did compete. Well, yeah, you shut it down. But also, we didn't have the media outlets. We didn't have Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and YouTube and all this. So I feel like anyone that's sitting on the sideline and not focusing on competing has to be doing something that's publicizing their career. If the companies they're with aren't doing that. You have to be your own boss at this point. You have to be your own self-marketer. You have to be your leader to be able to put out positive content or content that is relative to make you more successful. Now, a lot of guys don't have that ability. They can look at the mentors. If you look at what I did, okay, I took what Sean Ray did. I always say he mentored me from a distance because he made the videos, he showed the lifestyle, he talked about traveling as a bodybuilder, booking the guest appearances. I did that when I wasn't super popular, and look where it took me. I let people into my life. You have to do the media. I mean, any pro right now that's active should have a YouTube channel. If you don't, you're missing a huge boat.
Yep.
Okay, you 100% need a YouTube channel. You 100% need every outlet for Instagram, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. I think TikTok is really important now.
Yeah.
Everyone should have an account. And if anyone listening to this is an IFBB pro or up and coming and on that verge of becoming one, and you do not do this, you need to do it now.
Yeah.
This is the only way to do it. You have to be your best self-marketer. No one is going to do that for you.
And I also think on another angle, something that frustrates me, and it's just me, and other people don't look at this, when people just post still pictures or they do little reels where they just put music over top and show them just moving around, that does nothing. That's not promoting you. You need to get out there and speak. You need to talk. You need to explain what you're doing.
You need to speak to your audience.
Yes, you need to explain what you're doing. Not just post it. You need to grab it, talk to the crowd, talk to your fans, talk to your audience. You always did that. And all your video, hey, like for example, if we go to the gym right now, you won't just say, hey, just film me and then post up, I did 3 sets of 12. You will put it on you. Say, hey, guys, hey, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to do this. This is why I'm doing this. If you pull from this angle, it doesn't. You explain it to somebody so they understand what you're doing, how it's supposed to feel, and doing it correctly. But very few people do this, and I think it's just a lazy way of doing what you're supposed to do.
I think you can work that in.
Yes.
You can do some stills, whatever else, like...
Of course, you can.
I took stills of my dogs yesterday or whatever. Yeah. But, I went on. I mean, I'm so glad this Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff's over. I mean, we're still running our sale. We can talk a little bit about that in a second. But, like, it's been just nonstop, like, promotion through the social channels. So now it's time to get back to educating and advising and lifestyle, right? Yeah. So that's why I was excited to do this today. But we had a super successful Black Friday. Cutler Nutrition, Young LA.
Are you still broke?
Trifecta.
Are you still broke?
Yeah, still busted. But, it was one of those things where, like, we didn't give away the house, but, like, we gave people the opportunity to get involved. And, we're still looking for influencers, and, we have to sign up on the website.
Is there a place for me? Could I be an influencer?
Oh, you just got to look the part. That's all. You remember when you came to stay at my place in 07? So you came out did you come help me, or were you just...
No. So,
what did I ask you to do?
So back in 2007, I remember I just came off the road. I did a show with Fat Joe in Utah, and I remember landing that Sunday, and you called me at like 10 o'clock at night. I just landed.
Where were you at the time?
I was in Tampa.
Okay.
And I landed, and you said, hey, what are you doing this week? And I'm like, it was my only week off for like a long time. And you're like, Carrie has to work. She can't get off. Dave can't get out here. Can you fly out and help me? Because it was that last week. So I literally booked a flight that night. I jumped on a flight at 6 a.m. I flew out there. I rented a car, and I drove up to your place. Because this is before Uber, before any of this other stuff. And that week, whether you went to the Fox Sports, whether you went to
we
went
therapy, did a lot of media.
I sat in the therapy. I remember I sat in the therapy with you, and the therapist measured both of your legs.
Really?
Yes. We went inside there. You had me go in the room, and you were like, just tell Carrie what he said. That's all you said. So that was that week I came out there to help you, and obviously that was the year where...
Was there a lot of people around then, or...?
There was, but that last week you kept everyone away. Yeah. I think Dave ended up showing up on like Thursday. But
you came to meet the Olympians, and we had the whole store there set up. And
yeah, when we came to meet the Olympians, that's when you were sick. It was up in that one room, up in top, and you and Ronnie were the last two left, and everyone else is gone. And you were sick as hell. You had the infection. So I remembered that, and I forgot who came and stayed in the guest room. I think it was one of the guys from
We had the after party at LAX too that weekend.
Yep. And you had me all that, and I remember you'd had your sushi there. We had the after party at LAX,
right,
and
yeah.
I had to, and you're like, "Here, handle this list for me." I'm like, "I don't know the fuck. What am I supposed to do?" So now the guy's blowing my phone up, and we just sat in the crowd, and it was also Ronnie's last year, and also, if I remember right, Marcus Rule was his last year.
Okay,
but they didn't announce it. But that was, Ronnie did that long speech about this is his last time. And next year he's gonna be in the crowd. So that was that year. But yeah, I flew out last minute.
Was that the first Mr. Olympia you attended?
With you, yes. I came to one like 2 years before. But where was it? It was I think it was at it was at the Orleans still, yeah. Because I never went to the Mandalay Bay. That was only till like 01, right?
Yeah. No, it was 01. 02 I sat out. 03 and then 04 the challenge round year is when they moved it to Orleans.
I did that. Now the other years, every year the Olympia happened, it was in September, and September is always a busy month for the music industry stuff. So I would always text with you or text with Phil or text with Dexter or whoever else, but I was always gone somewhere, so I couldn't physically attend until around 2013 when I moved from Hong Kong to Vegas for good. Then I made sure I was here every time. But I remember messaging when Phil won in 2011. I was overseas, and I was messaging back and forth with him in 2012. But yeah, and now it's just a part of every year for us.
Now you're just here and just getting it done, man. It's awesome.
Back to what you were saying before. What we were saying before about people and posting. There has to be a mixture of everything. But it can't just be those two things, because then it just makes it look like you're doing your bare minimum for your requirements.
I need to do a blueprint of social media, like get a collaboration. I know. I just think it's not even. It's just like I think people would love that.
Of course they would.
Probably should put in some of my Gmails.
And look, and I don't ever say it publicly, but there's certain people that are really good on social media. And so one of them, I will say, Dana Lynn Bailey is one of the best ever. And there's a reason for it, because it's real? Authentic.
Yeah, she's
and
real.
She doesn't have to have a professional film crew to do all her shit. And she doesn't make it difficult. I can say to her, or I can say to Rob, hey, I need this. 20 minutes later, boom, it's right there, and it's just raw and uncut, and they hit every point, and it's authentic. That matters. When you turn the camera and you start talking to the audience. But if you just post a picture of you smiling or holding a product up like this, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't help. That's being lazy. It is. And I know people can get mad at me, but it's being lazy. It's doing the bare minimum, to where if you took this same can and talked about it to your audience, people are going to listen and it's going to absorb. But if you just post this, they're just going to swipe, like, swipe. That's the big difference. But there's certain people that are really good with their social media, and every single one of them is multimillionaires many, many, many times over. And there's a reason for it. But you can pay me and I'll tell you who.
Yeah, right. What else we got?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. The Olympia.
So 2023, so Brett Wilkin is qualified.
He's the first one qualified.
Well, not necessarily, because Phil Heath still qualified.
Phil Heath is, and Rami is, just because they're past Olympia champions.
And Brandon
Curry. They're automatically, but I'm saying once this show's over, they're gonna move their names into it just because. But right now, the first person to qualify for next year, because this year technically isn't over yet, so he's the first guy on the list qualified.
You love how I throw Phil Heath's name in there, right?
I know. Well,
I don't think it's on this year's qualified list.
So should we start like a
movement
to get Phil to compete again? Yeah. Kind of remember when Michael Jordan retired? And Scottie Pippen was like pointing at his shoes, holding it up. Even Bill Clinton said something back then.
Really?
You remember?
No.
There was like this press conference where he was like, the economy has created X amount of jobs, and if Michael Jordan comes back, there'll be one more job. So I think we need to start this movement to get Phil back on stage.
Oh, your job is to first get him in this studio so we can.
I was messaging him beforehand. Okay, I sent him a video.
Phil, we can't wait to see you, man, at the Olympia. But we hopefully that will be episode number 54 or 5, somewhere around there.
Look, in the next 3-4 weeks, we're gonna have a bunch of stuff.
We got some bangers, man.
We got some bangers that we're gonna get in, and it's just a matter of And you know, the part that sucks is everyone's hitting me up like, hey, we're going to come on your podcast. I'm like, when the hell do you think we're going to film this?
Yeah.
You know,
we have
like,
no time. Yeah.
we have from Thursday through Sunday, it's nuts. So what do you want to do? You want to shoot at 3 a.m? We can. You know, maybe we need to take this thing on the road and do it right in the expo. I'm sure Dan would support that.
It's just a little loud, you know, all that music and stuff, you know.
They'll get over it.
They need to give us a special, like, soundproof room, you know, built in the middle of
glass bubble.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That could work.
So we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow. We'll see you on the next episode. And what's going to be next week? Are you going to give your predictions or?
I don't like giving predictions.
I know. Well, I'll narrow down my top 6 next week.
People get really upset.
Hey, man.
And it's like, you know, I can't believe you said that about me. Well, you know, like I told you before, on paper, Rami should win. That doesn't mean he's going to. Beyond that, I have no fucking
It's
clue.
too bad we can't get Dan Solomon to give his predictions and put him on the spot, you know, as a promoter. Too bad he's not coming in next week. When's he come in anyway?
I don't know. We can find out.
Dan, when do you come in here? We want.
You know what we need to do then? We just need to run up on him with a camera.
What's your predictions?
Give us your predictions right now, sir.
Yeah. That's probably what you should do. Walk around at all these, like, meet the Olympians and press conference, and like we should get everyone's early predictions. That would be a good topic for one of our shows.
I still think we should do some type of giveaway. If you can guess the top 10 correctly.
Yeah, but dude, what happens when 10 people guess it correct?
Dude, no.
I just gave you the top 6, so it's pretty easy right there.
Okay, then which of those top 6, who's going to place what?
No, next week. Stay tuned for episode 52. Is it 52 or is what are we at right now?
I would bet you. I would bet you anything. We could have 10,000 people guess the top 10, and maybe one person will get it right.
What do you guys think?
I think we should do like some type of ridiculous giveaway. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but where you give away a lifetime opportunity of something. If someone can guess his top 10, because remember, there's 34
I get
guys.
It. We're going to give away your truck.
Dude, okay, well, thanks a lot. Why you got like 87 cars? Why are you going to give away mine?
We're going to give away Manager Matt's truck in the next episode for our winners.
That's a fucking dick move. I'm going to give away one of your cars. Yeah. You have too many. Every day there's a new car out here.
Wait, just think about how many people will get in there, how many comments we'll have.
They don't want my piece of shit truck. Nobody wants that.
All right, for the next episode, stay tuned, man. We're out, so we're going to make our prediction next week.